Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we would now take a speech from the Attorney General of the Federation. He is ably represented here by Dr. Umaru Jibrilu, his SA Media, who is here with us, and we want to take, his presentation before we go to the other speakers. Jibrilu, yes. Welcome.
The chairman of the occasion, Honorable Minister of Police Affairs, ably represented by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Permanent Secretary, Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the former Governor of Ogun State, members of the National Assembly, keynote speaker, the Vice Chancellor, security personnel, conveners of this program, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, including the gentlemen of the press, a very good morning to each and every one of you. The Honorable Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami San, intended to be here personally and physically, but due to official commitment, he assigned me to come and represent him here and deliver his address, the address. It gives me great pleasure to be here with you at this very important function that seeks to address some of the perennial problems persisting in the country. The triple issues of peace, unity, and security are of great significance to our cherished and collective culture of serene and harmonious coexistence as a people. I must salute the foresight and the ingenuity of the organizers of this lecture series for not only organizing the program in this special way, but also for choosing the theme of this year's lecture series to revolve around the issues of peaceful coexistence and mutual harmony among interrelated and interdependent communities in the country. The choice to discuss these myriad issues is not only commendable, but also a timely intervention in the spirit of upholding the need for a united and progressive Nigeria, in line with the nation's motto, unity and peace, unity and faith, peace and progress. As the organizers of this lecture series, you have proven to us that you have concerns about public interest. This is a clear indication of both belonging and working towards making positive impression and impact on having exponential increase in the number of befitting and responsible human resource and manpower for nation building. As the Chief Law Officer of Nigeria, I believe some of the ways for a peaceful Nigeria include strict adherence to the rule of law, respecting the sanctity of the fundamental human rights in all ramifications, including freedom of movement and the right of citizens to stay at whatever part of the country as they choose, and other provisions as contained in Chapter 4 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. These remain the fulcrum for a peaceful society. I want to submit that mastering and adopting conflict management strategies, interpersonal and intercommunity tolerance, enhanced public relations techniques, understanding multiculturalism and diversity, properly motivated and well-trained security forces with patriotic Nigerians sincerely committed to duty, as well as objective and socially responsible media are inevitable for a peaceful Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, it is imperative to state that there exists strong connection among drug abuse, family cohesion, insecurity, insurgency, and disruption of socio-cultural foundation, political stability, and economic prosperity of communities and nations. Substance abuse may cause public health disorder, national economic retardation, human resource stagnation, and distract the attainment of priority goals and objectives of any community. The recent waves of cases of rape and other maladaptive behaviors may not be unconnected with drug abuse. It is against this backdrop that the federal government of Nigeria establish and support agencies to address these challenges. The establishment of National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, as well as Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Police Affairs, among others, are all geared toward achieving the objectives of having a peaceful, serene, and luminous atmosphere for a healthy, mutually beneficial, and fruitful stay as citizens and inhabitants of this country. One of the issues that dominated the media space in recent time is the issue of farmer-herder conflict. Farmer-herder crisis is real. It therefore requires real-time and practically oriented solutions. The better approach toward resolving the crisis over short, medium, and long terms is to directly involve the stakeholders in the coming up with solutions at the conception, implementation, and monitoring phases. In this case, community-oriented approach is likely to yield greater dividend in diffusing and eventually eliminating the menace that has retarded economic development and created widespread insecurity. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not out of place for me to state that simply addressing farmer-herder crisis from purely theoretical perspectives, often devoid of reality and without synchronization with the needs and aspirations of the involved stakeholders, is not only counterproductive, but inimical to the emergence and sustenance of a peaceful and prosperous Nigeria. It is against this backdrop that the following recommendation may be worthy of consideration: the setting up of regulated grazing reserves to replace the brutally Hurumi pastoral system, intensive enlightenment to livestock breeders on the need for sedentary farming and transhumance agriculture as complementary economic process to nomadic farming, provision of water holes in remote grazing locations, subsidized veterinary care and mobile ambulatory services for surgeries and other medical interventions, provision of infrastructure, social amenities, educational facilities, and cattle market as central locations to accelerate nomadic settlements, educating communities on the need for peaceful coexistence. After all, these communities have lived harmoniously side by side and even intermarried for generations.